Corey Felposh here with the Felposh and Brewster team. Today we're going to discuss seller concessions. We're going to learn some tips and tricks. We're going to learn how it affects sellers and buyers, and then we're going to learn how much you can have in sellers concessions and how we negotiate. So let's talk about what are seller concessions. Seller concessions are when a seller agrees to pay a portion of the buyer's closing costs. There's many things. We'll discuss a list of things that can be used for seller concessions, but just know that the seller is agreeing to pay a portion of the buyer's closing costs. So let's talk about how much they can ask for and see how that affects by the type of loan and how much down payment you have. So first of all, we start out with an FHA loan. FHA loans is just a flat, they can ask for up to 6% of the sales price of the house. For a VA loan, they have a flat 4% of the sales price that they can ask for seller concessions. And then we have conventional. Now here's where down payment kind of affects how much they can get in seller concessions. So if you have a conventional loan and you have less than 10% down payment on the house, you can get a max of 3% seller concessions. If you have anywhere between 10% and 25%, they can ask for up to 6% of the sales price of the home. And then if we get above 25%, we can ask for up to 9% in seller concessions. Now let's talk about how a buyer and seller should understand how to negotiate and deal with concessions. So one, being a buyer, you need to know the type of loan that you have, how much down payment you have, and how much you can ask for. We want you to work with a trusted agent and have them guide you through the process of negotiating your seller concessions into your contract. And then we also want to remember that using seller concessions can affect the competitiveness of your offer versus other offers if we're dealing with a multi-offer situation, which in our current market we're seeing a lot of. So having seller concessions can make your offer less competitive to others. So tips for sellers. Just know that you're probably going to see seller concessions. 2, we want to work with an agent to develop a strategy on how to handle seller concessions and know that seller concessions are always negotiable. And 3, we're going to work with the agent and we're going to figure out how the seller concessions are going to affect the net proceeds of the purchase agreement. So now let's talk about what kind of things can the buyer use for seller concessions. There's a huge list of it. I probably won't hit them all, but I'm going to get the majority of them. They can use for mortgage origination fees. They can use it for admin fees, your appraisal, the inspection costs, property taxes, HOA fees, mortgage points, mortgage insurance, and many others. So those are the things they can ask for the seller to pay for the buyer for their closing costs. All right, so today we've learned what seller concessions are, how much a buyer can ask for seller concessions based on their loan and their down payment. We learned kind of tips and tricks to negotiating and dealing with seller concessions, and we gave the list of what a buyer can use the seller concessions for. I really appreciate you guys listening in today. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the video. We'll see you next time.